Hello again. I'm Randy Bueller here with Brian David Marshall, doing a little pregame before the Pro Tour Yokohama Championship match. $40,000 on the line, 25 pro points, which is a huge number and turns into money event in, event out next year.
Sure. Both of these players jump right into the middle of the Player of the Year race.
Absolutely. Guillaume Wafo-Tapa has been defining metagames for years. Kazuya Mitamura, not quite as well known, but sitting in the second consecutive block constructed top 8 for that matter. Who do you like?
I'm going to go with Guillaume Wafo-Tapa.
All right. You're going against the Pickles player.
I'm going against the Pickles player. I'm trying to mix it up. My picks haven't been working out for me so far.
Double reverse psych out because you really want Pickles to win the Pro Tour?
No.
No. I cannot believe you. I'm not calling you on it. That's fine. So now, tell us about the origin of this Pickles deck. Now I know that you gave it the name Pickles. What was the story behind this combo? Who was it that first found it?
Well, apparently there were a couple of people who played versions of this in state championships.
Okay.
After having a draft, I built a version of this deck that I wrote about in my MagicTheGathering.com column.
Right.
That Mike Flores and I worked on together. I built a base deck. He ended up putting in storage lands and Giga Drowses, and the original version was a lot clumsier than what you're seeing right now.
Sure.
But the essential nugget of Vesuvian Shapeshifter, Brine Elemental, that combo sort of we identified as Pickles, and we've been really excited about it for a while. The deck has taken off. A lot of the California players
now, did you find the combo reading state championship deck lists?
No. I
discovered it in a draft deck?
I found it in a draft deck. It just happened for me.
Sure.
I had Fathom Seer, Brine Elemental, and
Vesuvian
Shapeshifter. And so, I passed a Disintegrate the other day for Vesuvian Shapeshifter in a draft. I love that card. I think it's pretty much the best card in the block.
Okay.
So, the deck has really taken off. I mean, a lot of people have adopted it. It's obviously because it's such a powerful synergy. The Japanese players inserted it. They replaced the Triskelevises in Trisketron.
Right.
From World Championships. Actually, if you look, those guys they replaced that with a very small Pickles engine that they can tutor up with Mystical Teachings, with Teferi in play.
Well, no Mystical Teachings over here.
No, not on this version. I was just talking about it one of the Japanese events. Mitamura decided not to go with Fathom Seers. He's running Black for Damnation.
Right, and he said a couple Strangling Soots in the main.
And Strangling Soot, obviously a concession to the White Weenie decks.
Sure.
And decided, you know what, I'm gonna run Shadow Mage Infiltrator. I don't want to be reliant on 2 cards to get my card.
Do we know who he tested with for this event?
He did test with Ryuichi Arita. He worked with Arita.
And that was his teammate at Pro Tour Charleston.
Yeah. He named a couple of other players in his little bio. If you check out the top 8 profiles on the MagicTheGathering.com Tournament Center, but Ryuichi Arita was definitely cited as one of the players he worked with on this deck.
Makes sense. So Arita and Mitamura teamed up to make top 4 Charleston in the Ravnica block constructed. Here they came up with their take on Black-Blue, which is not the same as the other Japanese players were running, right?
No, it's not. The other Japanese players were running a Mori design deck,
right?
Which was, much more in line with the deck Wafo-Tapa's playing.
Right.
Mystical Teachings based deck that had a discrete package of, like sort of one-of Silver Bullet answers, and was kind of, you have a little answer for everything, and then after the sideboard, you screw in your control socket or your beatdown socket, and you adjust the deck. You sort of fine-tune it for the remaining games, and that's what Wafo-Tapa's playing.
Yeah, Wafo-Tapa very much has the Mystical Teachings fuel package of Silver Bullets. He worked with Pierre Canali for this event, worked with Jonathan Rispal, sort of a group of French players. Maybe not the ones you've been hearing about for years, right? You've had between the Ruel brothers and the Seif. France has been front and center on the Pro Tour for quite some time, but that, Canali, Wafo-Tapa, that group has clearly started to put up some serious results.
Sure, and if you remember the Eggs deck from Worlds, that was Jonathan Rispal.
Right.
Was involved with that. I mean, a lot of these guys had a hand in the Project X decks. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, clearly some people who are really looking for some, really exploiting some powerful cards and putting together some powerful synergies and building some format-defining decks, all living and playing and working in the same area in France. So,
one swamp in this deck. I keep looking at that. It just seems crazy. There's only one swamp in the entire deck.
And he ran the full set of 4 herb boards.
Right.
He's going to get his herb
He's
board.
got that instead of swamps, right?
And he certainly would have loved. He would have loved to have played Tomohiro Saito. You know, this deck is just annihilates the aggressive decks, the creature-based decks. That really their goal is to do 20. You know, that philosophy of fire kind of idea. You know, we can get there. You know, I have just all my cards do this sort of amount of damage, and I'm going to get to 20, and you're going to be dead. And even if I have to fight through some of your counter spells, no, you're at. You know, my creature died, and now you're at 35.
And we were talking in the semifinals. Mark Herberholtz had a very similar matchup to this. Heezy's deck, which he was working with Gabriel Nassif, among others, they had wound up with a white package in the main deck. They gave them access to more silver bullets. Wafo-Tapa does have access to a Plains and a Disenchant and a Temporal Isolation, a couple pulls from Eternity, but that's all in the sideboard. He's actually only 2 colors in the main. Seems like that would give him a little more consistency than a deck like a Mark Herberholtz version of it.
I mean, Mark, maybe a little more consistent, but Mark's deck definitely seemed to have a little more power. I was kind of surprised that, you know.
Well, looks like the players are shuffled up. Looks like they're ready for the finals. So we will be back momentarily with the championship match of Pro Tour Yokohama. Hello and welcome to the Pro Tour Yokohama Championship match. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and this has been an amazing event. The Time Spiral Planar Chaos block constructed format has given us all kinds of diversity, a bunch of different decks, a bunch of different variants on the same archetypes, a bunch of great players, clearly a very skill-testing format. It's familiar names through to the finals. The 2 guys that have survived to battle for the $40,000 prize, Guillaume Wafo-Tapa, there you get a good look at the Frenchman. He's been warping metagames for years with his ability to build constructed decks. And Kazuya Mitamura, defending the home country. Mitamura in his second top 8, his second consecutive block constructed top 8. Both players have their take on the blue-black control deck. What do you think of this matchup, Brian?
You know, I think that I think both players are going to have Mitamura's going to have some dead damnations in game 1.
Okay.
Where Guillaume Wafo-Tapa will actually be able to put his damnations to some use. You know, the Mitamura deck is a lot more creature-based.
Yeah, he's got 4 Shadow Mage Infiltrators. He's got the full Pickles package with 4 Shapeshifters and a couple of Brine Elementals. Both players have 2 Teferis and 2 Draining Wells.
But Guillaume Wafo-Tapa has to be very, very careful. His deck loves to tap out at the end of his opponent's turn. He likes wants to make Urza's Factory tokens, wants to flashback Mystical Teachings, wants to do a lot of things that he has to be very careful about that window where Brine Elemental just shuts the game off.
Yeah, it's Wafo-Tapa and his Mystical Teachings package against Mitamura and the Pickles combo. Which one of these will be victorious? Wafo-Tapa plays out a Prismatic Lens.
Maybe I don't need swamp.
Mitamura uses an expand to go get a swamp.
It's funny watching the opening as, you know, lights are flashing and it's all exciting and the music's playing and
John Finkel's in the house, Shadow Mage Infiltrator for Mitamura.
And Guillaume Wafo-Tapa is just sitting there very, very quietly, very calmly. The lights are sort of flashing all over him. He seemed very, very, you know, at peace in the middle of all this kind of chaos, excitement, thunder.
He's a very calm guy. Seems like a really good guy.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy. I really enjoyed talking to him. I've interviewed him for my column once or twice.
Okay.
And he's, you know, really helpful, great answers. Could be interviewing him again for my column.
And there's Damnation. That'll take care of John Finkel. Shadow Mage Infiltrator into the bin.